Part 20. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 192. Chapter 192, Fang Kai's Engagement. Tung oil? What kind of oil is that? Mei Shui really didn't know this thing. But the smell is so strong, I don't know if it is poisonous or not. Tung oil is the oil squeezed out of tung trees, used to prevent snakes, insects, rats, and ants. If a wooden house like this is not painted with tung oil, it will be infested by termites. So good, is this thing so good? Of course, this thing can also be used to treat burns, and it can also be used to wipe the belly of children with diarrhea. Grandma he smiled and told her the function she knew. Mei Shui thought about her medical book. She went back to look for it in the evening. If this thing was so good, she would have more at home. Do we have these on the mountain? Mei Shui asked. Of course, there is not only tung oil, but also camellia oil. Grandma has prepared that for you. It will be best to use it for confinement. You need to eat light during the confinement period, but there is no such thing as tea oil. People of the older generation compare tea oil to gold. One tael of camellia oil and one tael of gold, you can imagine how valuable it is. But these are the things that the mountain people are most in need of, and the processing is just a little more troublesome. Her family does not have a tea mountain, they only have some wild tea trees, and the oil production is not high, and there is only 2 taels of oil throughout the year. The oil for Xiaoxiu's postpartum period was bought by her and a group of people from the mountain. It only weighed 10 kilograms in total. That's what other people do in a year. What is tea oil used for? Mei Shui felt that she really didn't understand these mountains. Grandma he started painting the wooden walls of her house while explaining the functions of these 2 things to Xiaoxiu. It wasn't until Hians came back that Grandma he painted a wall. It's not that Mei Shui didn't want to help, but that Grandma he didn't let her go. She said it tasted too strong and she was afraid that her morning sickness, which she had managed to avoid, would be irritated again. Stand far away, and when the wind blows, the scent of tung oil will become lighter and the fragrance will come out. It won't be too exciting. Grandma, if you let me go, I can still stay at home for a few days. Let me do all the work today. Hians went to the fields to pull grass for a day. There is no way that every household is busy with field work now. I really can't invite anyone. Sure, come on, that place is too high for Grandma to reach. Grandma he was not coquettish and gave the cloth head directly to Hians. But she remembered something. By the way, do you know about Jiao Jiao and Fang Kai? Hians shook his head. I'm not sure, but these 2 are probably going to get engaged. I don't know the specifics, but I still know some information. Oh, no wonder your grandma Jinghua sent me candy today. It turned out to be true. Grandma he smiled. Just keep your back, Fang Kai is quite a good person, Hian said with a smile. Mei Shui was speechless. There were really few people in the village that she could talk to, but Jiao Jiao was one of them. On weekdays, she is the only one besides Li Shuang. I didn't hear anything about Jiao Jiao's engagement last time she came here, right? Mei Shui was a bit wise. Maybe it will be just for the next few days. I will go with Fang Kai then, Hians replied while taking action. That's it, that's all right. You've been back long enough. It's time to go to the store and have a look. Grandma he sat there and patted the ashes on her body. But before you leave, take Xiaoxiu to the hospital for a checkup first. Grandma he asked worriedly. I know Grandma, I'll remember this. The day after tomorrow, I'll take Xiaoxiu to the town early in the morning. Arrange things at home in a thoughtful manner. But no matter what Hians said, Mei Shui just didn't want to go to the county seat, and he was very unhappy about this. One thing I have to say is that Wen and others all raise chickens, ducks, and pigs at home. There was also medicinal wine. After Mei Shui got the blessing from the medical book, she added 2 more prescriptions, both of which were used to replenish the body. Even if you drink too much, it won't be a problem. You will only get angry for a few days at most. The first time, she brewed not much, there were 4 kinds in total, and she brewed about 20 kilograms of each kind. Medicated wine is no better than plum wine. It takes longer. I'm afraid it won't be cured until September. Everyone's life trajectory is flourishing. On July 22nd, Fang Kai came to Hejia village with his engagement party, and the village immediately became lively. Because Grandma he is half a matchmaker, Grandma Jinghua picked the person up early in the morning. Mei Shui couldn't get up, and Hians was worried that his wife would be home alone, so he didn't get down. It happened that An Liang and the others were all at home on vacation, so they all went down early to join in the fun. The sound of firecrackers, people's voices, and cheers were non-stop. When Mei Shui got up, she could clearly feel the bustle of people beside the stream. Fang Kai is here, Mei Shui's belly is getting bigger and bigger now. She no longer lives upstairs and has been living downstairs. There is nothing we can do, Grandma is worried about her. There is also Xiao. After Gu Gong'an left, he began to regard this place as his home. Rather than calling her uncle or aunt, she directly calls her godfather and godmother, and calls Grandma he Mrs, which makes Grandma he happy. After more than half a month of getting along, Xiao's temperament gradually relaxed. He accompanied Xiao Bai to go to the mountains every day. Coupled with the fact that he was his godson, Hians also asked him to start practicing martial arts. When Grandma he found out, she glared at Hians for several days. Where is Xiao? Did you go down with An Liang and the others? Mei Shui looked inside and outside the house and asked when she didn't see Xiao. Needless to say, Hian said breathlessly, An Liang is such a big man, and he lives like a child every day. Xiao is only 6 years old, and An Liang can play with Xiao all day long. Last time Boss Jian came to take away vegetables, the land needed to be plowed, so the two of them plowed the land for a whole day on the mountain. Xiao also helped An Liang dig earthworms for a whole day. Grandma he was so distressed that she even gave An Liang a good beating. You are envious. It would be great to live like a child, not to mention, Mei Shui was quite envious of him. It's good. I'm not afraid of being whipped every day. Hians poured some warm water for Mei Shui and asked her to wash her face. She would have to go down for lunch later. That's Grandma. If it were anyone else, I would see if An Liang doesn't fight with others. Mei Shui rolled her eyes at him. Okay, wash your face quickly, have something to eat and I'll help you go out for a walk. We're going to Grandma Jinghua's house for dinner at noon. Fang Kai's parents are here today, so we have to go and say hello. Having been friends for so many years, he still has a very good relationship with Fang's father and Fang's mother. Good. After Mei Shui finished eating, the two of them walked directly down the mountain. Don't mention it, whenever there is a happy event in the village, it is really lively. Hey, Xiaoxiu's belly is so big. Are these two children good? I met several ants at once. As soon as he saw the two of them, he immediately smiled and asked. Mei Shui smiled back and said politely, quite well behaved. Please vote for recommendations, please vote for me, please support me. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 193. Chapter 193, Xiao's Free Life. It's been more than 6 months. It looks like she's about to give birth to twins. They are the first in our village. Some people who have become mothers-in-law are very envious. Whether they are boys or girls, twins are very enviable. Of course, it would definitely be more pleasing if they were all boys. Mei Shui is not the kind of person to talk too much, and she will not tell them that she is pregnant with 2 boys. Well, she looks pretty good. Hians knew that Xiaoxiu rarely talked to people she didn't know well, so he took over the conversation. Is your sister-in-law going to give birth soon? Hians still knew the situation in the village very well. No, my belly is about the same size as Xiaoxiu's. It would be great if my family also has twins. A look of envy. It's okay. It's easier to be pregnant with an adult. Xiaoxiu hasn't been able to sleep well these days. No, Ans, you have to spend more time with Xiaoxiu at this time, and don't go out to make money every day. It's not easy for Xiaoxiu to be at home alone. At any rate, there aren't too many people in the village saying good things about Xiaoxiu. It's okay, he's busy. Mei Shui helped Ans out. These young couple really have a good relationship. Okay, you go see Jiao Qiao. Go quickly, but Xiaoxiu, please don't enter Jiao's house. An aunt who was a bit affectionate came over and said. Mei Shui was a little confused. Why, Aunt Chun, she knew this person and had helped her work on the mountain. Why else? You are a four-eyed person now. Don't get involved in other people's happy events. It's okay if nothing happens. If something happens, I'm afraid others will tell you. She is not a member of her own family, but she doesn't talk much about it. The three aunts around also nodded in agreement and said, that's right, just take a look outside. Don't go into the house, let alone touch her things. Today the new son-in-law has brought a betrothal gift, just take a look. It's your grandma who loves you and didn't tell you because she was afraid you would think too much. If you want to talk to Jiao Qiao, just stand outside and say, don't go in. Seeing their kindness, Mei Shui is not the kind of person who doesn't know good things. I've made a note of it, aunts, I won't go in. She originally wanted to give Jiao Qiao an engagement gift, but now it seems. Then let's go there first. Okay, let's go. Turning a corner and walking towards Jiao's house, Mei Shui didn't understand, is there such a thing as this? How could a grown man know this? Ans said, I don't know, but since the aunts said so, there must be a rule. We won't enter her room. Come on, I originally wanted to give her an engagement gift, but now I have to ask grandma to give it to her. Mei Shui was not disappointed. Originally, she didn't like crowded places. Well, you can give it to grandma later. Ans agreed. Mei Shui bought Jiao something expensive when she went to town for a checkup last time. It was just a silk scarf. I heard it is quite popular now. But she didn't like it and felt it was too hot. The color is pretty good, it's pink. Jiao is white and so pink that she is very popular. They arrived at the door of Jiao's house. They were close to a stream, but there was no yard as big as the mountain. There were many people here and they lived in densely packed areas. Each house only had a small amount of space. Here you are, come here quickly and let us dry in the sun over there. The sun was already high in the sky in July. Some people greeted the two immediately when they saw them. Hello, grandma, aunt, and sisters-in-law. Mei Shui and Ans called out one by one. Good, good, good. Soon, Mei Shui found her grandma in the crowd and walked directly to her side. Grandma, Mei Shui called as she approached. Xiaoxiu, you are here, have you eaten? Are you tired? Come, sit down and have a rest. When she saw Xiaoxiu, grandma, he became nervous. Grandma, I'm fine. I'm not tired. You can sit down. Mei Shui had just eaten and her stomach was still full, so she couldn't sit down. Xiao ran over before they could talk for a while. Godmother, godmother, I'm here. Xiao was sweating profusely, wearing new clothes, and looked very energetic. Xiao, why are you sweating profusely? Where is your uncle Anliang? As soon as grandma he saw Xiao, she immediately pulled him over and wiped him with her handkerchief. Madam, Uncle Anliang is catching crabs in the creek and will bake them later. Xiao has integrated well into the village. You brat, don't get into the water when you're not safe. The water is still cold. If you catch a cold, I won't slap you. Grandma he sincerely accepted Xiao. She treats him better than her own grandson, who makes him his great-grandson. Don't worry, madam, you will be worried if I don't go down, sensible child. Okay, your godfather is over there, go and find him, and your godmother has something to say to the wife, Mei Shui instructed softly. Well, I'm going over there. I'll ask Uncle Anliang to take all the crabs to our house soon. After saying that, Xiao ran away. There are a few old ladies around Grandma Mei Shui has seen them before, but is not very familiar with them. Grandma, you can give this to Jiao Jiao later. I just met Aunt Chun, and she asked me not to go in, so just give it to me. There were too many people here, and she was anxious. Okay, I'll give it to her later. Grandma took it. She knew what was here. You go find Ans. There are many people here, Grandma, and it's very hot. Good. Mei Shui really doesn't like the crowds, not to mention it's too hot and noisy. Finding Ans, Mei Shui said she wanted to go for a walk by the stream. Ans immediately took Mei Shui's hand and said, wait a minute, come with me to meet Uncle Fang and the others. He had to say hello. It was only then that Mei Shui thought about coming. They had another thing to do when they came down. Have you not seen Fang Kai? Father Fang and the others must be sitting in the main room, and she doesn't really want to go. I didn't see it. I heard that I was drunk so early in the morning. I'm afraid I don't know where I fell asleep at this time. I just asked, and it seemed that I had been drunk in the morning. Then let's go during dinner. I'm afraid their family is discussing something at this time, Mei Shui guessed. Ans thought for a while and agreed with Mei Shui. That's it, let's go, I'll take you for a walk by the stream. He held Xiaoxiu with one hand and Xiao with the other. The family should not be too loving. Godmother, look, Uncle Anliang and Uncle Ankan. Xiao is a junior, so he has to call everyone uncle when he sees him. I see, you go over and play quickly, your godmother and I will walk slowly. He also came from his childhood, so Xiao was tempted. Xiao glanced at his godfather and then at his godmother. When he saw his godmother nodding, he ran over. Uncle Anliang, my godfather and godmother are here. Grab more quickly and let my wife prepare delicious food for us when we go back in the evening. Looking at Xiao letting go, Ans and Mei Shui looked at each other and smiled. It seems that he has gotten through that unhappy period. Mei Shui sighed. Forget it if you have a ticket. The National Day is getting closer and closer. The author promises to add more updates during the National Day. It's up to you to add more updates. Recommend votes, monthly votes, and subscribe. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 194. Chapter 194, A group of people, please vote for recommendation, monthly vote. He is still young and doesn't remember things. It's better to forget. Whenever he mentioned this, he thought of Yu when he first saw him. That's right, Xiao's household registration was registered in Ans's name with the help of Gu Gong'an and others. Became his biological son, named Yu. But Grandma didn't let him call him parents, but asked him to call him godfather and godmother, because she didn't want him to forget his parents. So now I keep calling me godfather and godmother. Yeah, forget it. Keeping it in mind is not good for his growth. Mei Shui shook her head and smiled. Be kind to him in the future. It's best to let him not think about this past. Don't worry, he will live a happy life with his grandma here. His grandma's partiality really made him ache. Soon the two of them came to Anliang and the others. Looking at the stream that just reached the top of her feet, Mei Shui wanted to go down and play. After she became pregnant, she became very angry, but Grandma never dared to let the knife get cold. How many people does Anliang have? Seeing them having so much fun, Mei Shui thought of the fish smashing she did last year. Sister-in-law, You are here, you are lucky today, and you have gained a lot. Lo Kan Liang tilted the bucket next to him so that they could see the goods inside. Oh, it's indeed quite a lot, but we're all having dinner at Uncle He's house tonight. How can you eat so much? Hians asked with a smile. Upon hearing this, Hian Liang said, what's the big deal? I'll feed it in the afternoon, don't delay dinner. And Cheng also ran over with a bucket. Sister-in-law, look, I caught so many. He held it in front of Mei Shui like a treasure. Meixiu was happy when she saw it. Hey, it's not smaller than An Liang's. It seems there are a lot of crabs here. This part of the creek is considered a relatively large shallow part of the creek. It is about 10 meters long. The current is a little faster in the middle, and there is shallow water made of small pebbles on both sides. Everyone would wash their hands and soak their feet here on weekdays. A little further up is the place where people usually wash clothes and dishes. Of course, the lower reaches are similar, but not as wide as the shoals here. The water downstream is also deeper than up here. That's right, sister-in-law, it would be great if I could go to Hong Kong to catch fish this year. He was envious of brother An Liang and the others last year, as they brought back a lot of fish. I can't go this year, I can't walk on my stomach, Mei Shui said with a smile. After a while, there were more and more people here, and Wen and Li Shuang also came over. Li Shuang is now past her first 3 months and can start to walk around, but she is more careful and doesn't go out much on weekdays. If He Jiao hadn't gotten engaged today, she would have been making clothes for her children at home again. Sister-in-law. Here you are seeing the person coming, Mei Shui waved to Li Shuang. After the two pregnant women got together, they started to murmur. Hians and Wen did not dare to go far. They stood beside them so that they could see anything happen immediately. Brother Wen, come down and play quickly, and Liang and Cheng called. Wen immediately shook his head, I won't come. Xiao also called uncle and aunt when he saw the visitor. Sister-in-law, do you know how many big things Jiao has brought? Li Shuang asked in a normal gossip. Meixiu really didn't know about this. Have you gone to see it? Didn't you say you can't go? No, I heard what they said. This time they came with 3 big items and 3 gold coins. There was no envy in Li Shuang's eyes, but he was just happy for He Jiao. If the person she wants to marry is not brother Wen, maybe she will be envious. Oh, it's such a big deal, the girls in the village will be valuable in the future. Mei Shui was happy, Fang Kai really owed it to him. Very showy. Of course, it may also be because of the He family's request. But these are none of her business. The Fang family is willing to pay so much as a betrothal gift to marry a daughter-in-law. What right does an outsider have to say? I have pity on the girls and men who haven't married yet. Li Shuang smiled. Do you think there will be people who can't get married in the future? I don't blame her for saying that. With so many things, it is not easy for anyone to come up with them. If the conditions are good, it will be okay. If the conditions are not good, I am afraid that my wife will not be able to marry him back. No one in our family is getting married, so it doesn't matter. And Liang and the others were still young, and there was still time to wait. Times were developing at that time, and things like this might not be worth it now. Yes, but do you think the Anlin family would have any objections? Li Shuang whispered in Mei Shui's ear. Mei Shui shook her head. Sometimes it makes trouble. Anlin's wedding day was set for the 8th day of August, but he didn't get engaged and took the girl home directly. But the young couple are doing pretty well now. It's just that Aunt Ting doesn't like to go out very much now. She is basically at home unless absolutely necessary. Anshan stopped playing with An Liang and the others during the holidays. Instead, he went to cut wood or catch snakes by himself. After catching the snake, he hid it and secretly took it and sold it every time he went to school. And Liang told her about this. Not necessarily, Uncle Zhengting is holding him down. Li Shuang shook his head, feeling that he couldn't make trouble. She's just making trouble for Anlin. Mei Shui rolled her eyes. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. It's all other people's business. Why do you care so much? There's no money for it. She didn't want to mention that family, it was annoying. Mei Shui waved to An Cheng, and An Cheng came over soon. What's wrong, sister-in-law? Let me ask you, have you seen Anchen today? Mei Shui asked softly. An Cheng was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Sister-in-law, Anchen has gone to town. He went to sell snakes. Don't tell Uncle Zhengting and the others he met Anchen when he got up early in the morning to feed the horses. Seeing him holding two big bags, I found out that he was selling snakes. I originally wanted to give him a gift, but Anchen refused. Okay, don't talk nonsense about this. Just pretend you don't know. Also, you and An Liang remember to help An Shan when he is out. It's not easy after becoming a mother. Mei Shui's temperament changed. Helping to see others pity me, I really have a holy heart. You know, we will still be together when we are in school, An Cheng replied. That's good, go and get busy. Remember to take Anchen with you when you eat, otherwise he will definitely not come. There is no one in his family to cook, so don't go hungry, Li Shuang ordered. I remember my sisters-in-law. Go and play. The sun was getting bigger and bigger, so Mei Shui pulled Li Shuang towards the shade. After seeing the two of them sitting in a safe place, he and An Wen were ready to make a move. However, they did not turn over the crabs. They went directly to someone else's house to borrow a hammer and smashed the fish. Soon the news about Fang Kai's betrothal gift spread in the village. Mei Shui and Li Shuang listened and smiled at those people's sour remarks. After Grandma he finished her work, she immediately went to find He Jiao and delivered the things Mei Shui gave her to her. Originally, He Jiao planned to go and play with Mei Shui, but Grandma he stopped her. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 195. Chapter 195, Want to buy a house. Girl, you can't go to your sister-in-law on your special day today. Don't make it difficult for your sister-in-law. There are some rules in the village, and she doesn't want Xiaoxiu to get involved in such things. He Jiao's mother also stopped her. You can just go to your sister-in-law's house to play tomorrow, she said with a smile. But aren't we going to Fang Kai's house tomorrow? How can I find my sister-in-law? He Jiao was a little unhappy. Besides, those are all superstitions, you all believe them, he muttered, expressing his dissatisfaction. Superstitious or not, you can't leave now. Your future mother-in-law is still sitting here. He pointed to the mother-in-law who was doing the work not far away. After the things were delivered, Grandma he didn't want to stay here. She was not a Quanfu old man, so it was better not to be an eyesore here. Okay, put your things away. They are not expensive things. Just to be clear, I have something to do outside, so I have to go and get busy. Grandma he could tell that the mother and daughter had something to say. After leaving, Grandma he went directly to find Xiaoxiu. When she found the person, she and Shuang were seen sitting under a grapefruit tree, which was basically a place where everyone usually rested. You two will find a place when you get there. Grandma he came over and joked. Grandma. Third Grandma. As soon as they heard this, the two of them laughed immediately. Come and sit here, it's cool and quiet here. Mei Shui moved to make a place for her grandma to sit. Are you tired? You two are pregnant. If you are tired, go back. It will be a while before dinner. Grandma he asked with concern. Li Shuang shook his head. I just came down, it's okay. Mei Shui is not tired either. Grandma who is not tired, she is still looking forward to the feast. At lunchtime, he and the others were not back yet, but they didn't want to delay Mei Shui's dinner. After lunch, Mei Shui and Li Shuang were taken home by Aunt Milian and Aunt Zillian. Grandma he drank some wine and she needed others to take care of herself, but she couldn't take care of Mei Shui. After returning home, With the help of He Jiankei and He Jianxi, Mei Shui finally settled her grandma, and she was a little tired. After seeing them off, Mei Shui also went back to the house to take a nap. Otherwise, she would not be energetic at all in the afternoon. If she slept in the afternoon, she would not be able to sleep at night. By the time He Ans and the others came back, they had already missed lunch, but how could there be no food at home for a wedding, so they ate some and hurried home. Clean out the fish and crabs and oil them so they won't go bad tomorrow. You don't have to go to other people's houses to eat tomorrow, you can eat at home. The next day, Mei Shui followed He Ans out of the village and went to the county town. Of course, Grandma and Xiao did not follow. He Ans was afraid that Grandma would be worried, so he planned to send Mei Shui back after having dinner at Fang Kai's house. Mei Shui felt uncomfortable as soon as she arrived in the county town. It was not as comfortable as in the village, and the surrounding area was noisy in the morning. He Ans saw his wife sleeping restlessly on the bed and had a new idea in his mind. I cooked some porridge for breakfast and ate very lightly. Xiaoxiu is up, let's have something to eat before going to bed. This is the time when the neighbors get up to make breakfast, so there will be some noise. Mei Shui didn't sleep very peacefully, but she immediately opened her eyes when she heard He Ans call her, okay. Everything in the small house was arranged by her when she came here before, and she is very familiar with it. Wash your face and rinse your mouth. Mei Shui quickly tidied herself up. After smelling the aroma of the porridge, her stomach became restless. Eat it when you're hungry. I've never eaten this porridge before. Looking at his wife's little appearance, He Ans felt very tempted. Thanks. After the young couple finished breakfast, He Ans went to clear away the dishes and chopsticks. Naturally, can you sleep now? He thought of something and wanted to ask her. Can't sleep, my stomach is so full, my stomach is bloated and I can't sleep. Let me tell you something. He Ans organized his words, can we buy a house in the county? He really doesn't have much money now, but he still wants to give her a better life. Mei Shui knew what he was thinking after hearing what he said. Okay, it's very inconvenient to live here. She didn't like the noise. How about you go back 2 days late and let's go look at the house together? He Ans' smile deepened when he heard his wife agreed. Grandma will be worried, can't you see it yourself? She was worried that Grandma would be alone at home. Knowing that she was a grandma, he couldn't refute. Okay, tell me what you think. If there is a suitable house, I will buy it. He Ans didn't want to force her. It's quieter and there are fewer people around. I don't like too many people and noisy people. Mei Shui said her first request. Also, the place must be big enough for farming. Grandma can move around when she comes. Even though she might not be able to stay in the county town forever, according to He Ans' current thinking, she would only have to come here from time to time. Sure, I've written it down. Let's go now. Go to the hospital and check it out. I won't worry. He Ans had been thinking about this. Didn't we just check it out? What else are we going to do? Mei Shui said very repulsively. The medical skills here are more advanced, let's take a look. Okay. He Ans squatted at Mei Shui's feet and prayed softly. Seeing him like this, Mei Shui couldn't even say no to him. Okay, let's do a B ultrasound. Okay, let's go. It is true that the county hospital is larger than the hospital in the town, but Mei Shui found out that the examinations and other tests were all the same, which made her very impatient. Fortunately, He Ans knew the rules, but he wanted to know how the adults and children were doing. The doctor checked and gave him a positive answer. Both adults and children are healthy. The children are also growing well. After feeling relieved, He Ans coaxed Mei Shui with a flattering expression and took her for a walk on the street. Also take a look around to see if there are any houses for sale. Mei Shui also bought a lot of food, and the two returned home at about 11 o'clock. After resting for a while, He Ans took Mei Shui and some gifts to Fang's house. In this way, Mei Shui attended the engagement party between Fang Kai and He Jiaojiao in the county town. After another day of rest, Hians took Mei Shui back to the village with He Jiao's family. When she was in the county town, Mei Shui also visited Hian's store. The items sold there were really good, but they were all available at home. Going back that day, Hians left home in the afternoon and went back to the county town to get busy. And Mei Shui, Grandma He and Xiao lived a simple and happy life again. Within 2 days, Boss Jian's vegetable cart came again, this time catching up with the ripe watermelons at home. Mei Shui was very unhappy that Jian Xiang's eyes kept staring at the watermelon in her hand. This watermelon is incomparable to last year's watermelon. Please remember to vote for everyone, please vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Double the amount on National Day, everyone must remember to vote, thank you. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 196. Chapter 196, Idea, please vote for recommendation, monthly vote. Don't look at it. There's still something over there. You have to eat it and cut it yourself. Seeing that he kept staring, Mei Shui said very rudely. Uncle Shi, who came with him, also looked coveted. Little girl Xiaoxiu, can you give me 2 watermelons for the uncle, he asked as soon as he came, but the elder sister said that these watermelons are not for sale. This was the first time Uncle Shi came to visit Mei Shui after she became pregnant. He also brought a lot of things, including clothes and shoes for the child. I also gave the children a longevity lock. This thing is made of silver and is expensive. When Mei Shui heard what Uncle Shi said, she thought of the 2 longevity locks and nodded reluctantly, well, 2, just 2. Haha, okay, thank you girl. Uncle Shi was so happy that he ran away and went to talk to the elder sister. Qian Xiang looked aggrieved. Sister Xiaoxiu, what about me? He had tasted it, it was really delicious, very sweet, and full of water. If it could be sold in the store. Just thinking about it, he felt like money was beckoning to him. Didn't you eat it? Mei Shui finished the last bite and put an empty round watermelon shell aside. You still want to eat it and take it away? No way, I didn't plant much this year, and it's not enough for myself. She loved the watermelon, it was so delicious. Mei Shui, who has never been a fan of sweets, loves this watermelon. Of course, it may be because she has never eaten a fruit that is more delicious than watermelon. I'm not going to sell it, I'll just eat it at home. How about I take 2 back to my old man? Qian Xiang knew that buying them was impossible. Mei Shui glanced at him, and as soon as she heard that his old man thought of the 10,000 yuan, forget it, just give him 2. Sure, let grandma pick a few for you when you go back later. Don't pick them yourself, you can't tell which ones are ripe and which ones are not. It's not good to waste too much. Hey, thank you, sister. Qian Xiang was excited. But he thought of another thing. By the way, I want to ask you something. Is the rice at your home the same as the rice in the village? He had eaten rice at his house many times, and after returning, he always felt that it didn't taste very good. Right. I don't know, Grandma chose the seeds, but my family manages it well, so the rice may taste better than other people's, Mei Shui said thoughtfully. It seems that someone has really discovered it, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But her family doesn't have much rice, so she really doesn't want to sell it. It's better to eat it at home. Qian Xiang didn't understand in the bar. The dishes he bought were not from her family, and some from the villagers were also charged. Many diners said that these dishes were not as delicious as those from her family. He had to doubt it, but his grandma also said that some people just have this talent and know how to farm, and the things they grow are tastier than others, even if they are the same species. He felt that the He family were the kind of people who were good at farming. I don't want much, I'll give you a few 100 kilograms for my own consumption. I won't sell it. If I sell it, no matter how much it is, it won't be enough. Meixia shook her head without thinking. Don't think about it, I don't even have enough food at home. Sell whatever you want for that piece of land. She doesn't lack the money, but she still has to be careful when others notice her. She is missing from the field this year, so I don't know if the taste will be worse. I also need to prepare seeds. That's right, Mei Shui doesn't want to be too special. She doesn't want to be someone else's eyes. In her world, being someone else's eye is not a good thing. Let Anwen and the others plant it together first. With me? The prices of food will increase in the future, he said angrily. Qianziang was surprised. Why, the price he gave was more than 50% higher than usual. What do you think? Mei Shui rolled her eyes at him. Do I look stupid? She said angrily. Qianziang giggled and said, No, Miss Xiaoxiu is fine. It felt a bit empty for no reason. That's it? Then why do you think we need to say more about the price increase? This person knows how to play her family's plan and make him pay some blood. It's not that she is unkind. Don't think she doesn't know that prices in the city have gone up now. Sure, I'll listen to you. Qianziang wanted to cry. He also thought that after working for another year, he would go to Kyoto to open another restaurant. Now it seems that he has to wait for another year. Looking at his aggrieved face, Mei Shui didn't even look at him. She had eaten and had to walk. But with such a big belly, she didn't dare to go hiking herself, so she could only go to Li Shuangshuang's or Aunt Mei Lian's house to play. Today, An Liang and the others went up the mountain to pick vegetables. Even though Qianziang brought many people, there were also a lot of vegetables in the fields and there were not enough manpower. Looking at Mei Shui's back as she left the house, Qianziang didn't say anything more, no matter how much he said. I can only wave my hands weakly and say goodbye. After asking, I found out that both of them went to Aunt Milian to learn how to make clothes. There was no other way, so Mei Shui had no choice but to go to Aunt Milian's house. Mei Shui saw Enlin's daughter-in-law when passing by Enlin's house, but she didn't seem to be very friendly to her. But, it's none of her business. Irrelevant people, not important. Aunt Mei Lian, I'm here. Mei Shui opened the door and walked in and called. Xiaoxiu is here, come in quickly, we are here in the corridor. Cool down. Listening to the voice, Aunt Milian responded. When Mei Shui passed by, she saw that both of them were holding needles and threads, and she felt envious in her heart. She had really failed in this job. Shuang, you are still making clothes, haven't you? Made a lot, it's been several months. Have you made enough clothes to wear? Sister-in-law, please sit down, I'm tired of standing. Li Shuang offered up the stool under her buttocks. I'm making bigger clothes now. Didn't I buy some cloth last time? I'm fine anyway, and I can't help Mom. To live, I can only make clothes. Mei Shui died. Well, it's not like you don't know how good she is at this job, and you still hit her, so be careful of the bad looks she gives you. After saying that, Aunt Milian started laughing. Mei Shui can do anything, but she can't do this needlework. After chatting and laughing for a while, she saw that the sleeves of Li Shuang's clothes were ready. Mei Shui was so envious. She has always wanted to make a dress for her grandma, but unfortunately, reality does not allow it. By the way, Xiaoxiu, Sister Lixia asked me to ask you something. Aunt Milian thought of the letter her daughter brought back a few days ago. What's the matter? Mei Shui was stunned. Sister Lixia hasn't been back for more than half a year. What do you want to ask her? My family raises chickens. Your sister Lixia wants to ask you, how about she open a chicken shop? Now that the child is older, she has nothing to do at home every day. It would be better to live in my husband's family if I could earn some money. This can be done, but there is only one in the town. It's okay to open another one, but we can't open them together, as this will affect the business. Mei Shui thought for a while. Oh, you're optimistic, too. I asked her why she's looking for work when she has nothing to do. Since you think she can do it, I'll write to her tomorrow and let her get ready. Aunt Milian laughed when she heard Mei Shui say there was business. When the time comes, we will collect some Njinjia ducks, and I think the business will not be bad. Mei Shui was speechless. She didn't say anything. Okay. Monthly votes are now doubled. The first is coming soon. Everyone, hurry up and vote. As soon as the votes arrive, the extra updates will begin. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 197. Chapter 197, New Discovery. Li Shuangshuang laughed unkindly when she saw her sister-in-law's confused look. Why don't you let Sister Lixia sell clothes? I heard that people in the town like new clothes now. Li Shuangshuang didn't know. Mei Shui also felt that it was unacceptable for Sister Lixia to sell chickens and ducks at such a young age. Selling clothes is a good business. Yes, the wife of one of He An's friends sells clothes in the county town. I heard that the business is very good. Mei Shui thought about it and thought it was feasible. Ah, selling clothes, Aunt Milian didn't know much about these things. Is it possible? Is it expensive? If the money is too much, I'm afraid Lixia's husband's family won't be very willing, right? I don't know. If Sister Lixia wants to start this business, let her go to the county town to find He An's. Then let him take Sister Lixia to his friend's store to have a look. Mei Shui is not particular about clothes. She is becoming more and more picky about food. She has no choice but to let her grandma raise her so well. She has to make her own decision about this matter. I will ask An Liang to go to his sister tomorrow to see what she thinks. Selling clothes is actually quite good, but the chickens and ducks are still a little dirty. Mei Shui nodded. As for the He family, Uncle Shi looked at the busy sister He with envy. Tell me, how come you have such a good life and marry such a good granddaughter-in-law? Thinking of the troubles in his family, Uncle Shi became unhappy. Oh, this is life, Grandma, he said proudly. Yes, life. Why is my life so miserable? Uncle Shi cried. You don't know that none of the unfilial descendants in my family are good, and none of them understand me, the old man. Grandma, he was speechless. Shut up, Howl, this is my home. If you are upset and vent your anger on your own family, I don't have time to listen. Really, you are quite old. Is it necessary for that idea of watermelon? No matter what you say, it's okay. All the watermelons at home are for Xiaoxiu to eat. She will give you 2 to tell your fortune. If you want me, I won't even give you the skin. Grandma, his patience reached its limit. This old man is very shameless. Qianziang has already run away outside. Knowing what kind of person Uncle Shi is, he doesn't dare to squat here. If he finds out that he has got 4, he will definitely rob him. Sister, please take pity on me. Give me one more, just one, and I can get a smaller one, Uncle Shi said with hope as he put away the tears in his eyes. Oh, I'm dreaming. No matter how small her watermelon is, it weighs 7 or 8 pounds each. Humph, there's no way to take advantage of her family. Why are you so unsympathetic, Uncle Shi was defeated. What is compassion, Grandma? He rolled her eyes at him. The 2 elders had a very unpleasant conversation, but Uncle Shi had no regrets and ate to his full capacity. At lunch, he couldn't eat a single grain of rice, but he made everyone very happy. On the mountain, with the people Qianziang brought himself and several people from the village, the picking speed was much faster. This time, after picking the vegetables, it may take a month to come. Qianziang was also enterprising. Freezers in this era were very expensive, so he bought a dozen of them to store these vegetables. If it weren't for the limited variety of vegetables in Mei Shui Di, he might have planned to rent an ice cellar from someone else's aquatic products company. This time I came early and had plenty of food. It wasn't until the afternoon that the car was loaded and the money was counted. Another wave of income came into An Wen's account, which made An Liang and others envious. Mei Shui didn't care at all, but she said the price increase was true. Qian Xiang is also prepared. He is not the kind of heartless person. He knows very well what his business relies on for success. But when he left, he still couldn't get the rice, so he hid 4 watermelons. Uncle Shi finally got an extra watermelon thanks to Mei Shui's pity, making 3 in total. However, when leaving, Uncle Shi took away the poisonous snake wine that Mei Shui had brewed. Give Mei Shui 200 yuan. The jar of wine wasn't much, only about 20 kilograms or 200 yuan, which was actually a lot. However, Mei Shui felt at ease. She put several drops of space water in it. Drinking it for a long time will definitely make the old man's body stronger. Even Mr. Zhao's health has improved step by step under the care of Mei Shui's family. At least I can eat some rice now, even if it's not much. It's better than hanging yourself with ginseng. As for Ming Cheng, Qian Xiang was not the only one who knew the benefits of Mei Shui's food. Gu Gong'an brought a lot of things with him when he returned from his house. There are some homegrown vegetables among them. This allowed him to discover the new world. Because Mr. Gu is also an old warrior, when he came down from the front line, he suffered a lot of aches and pains. As I get older, all those ailments come out. Now not only can't I eat, it's also difficult to get out of bed. As soon as Gu Gong'an returned with the things from the countryside, he asked his wife to cook them for the old man to eat. At first I didn't have much hope, because the old man had no taste and couldn't eat it even if he wanted to. My body hurts a lot. However, the aroma of the vegetables this time gave him an appetite, and he accidentally ate all the eggplants on the plate. Because of the old man's health, he didn't add any other seasonings when cooking, so he just added some salt. Unexpectedly, he ate them all. She also said that her stomach felt very comfortable. I went to the toilet that afternoon and it was smoother than ever. This surprised the entire Gu family. "Grandpa, are you feeling uncomfortable in any way?" Gu Gong'an, who came back from get off work, ran to Grandpa's room and asked as soon as he heard what his wife said. When Mr. Gu saw his eldest grandson coming, the smile on his face was so deep that he said, "Ziaji is here. Grandpa is fine. Grandpa is very comfortable. Do you want to go to the hospital to take a look?" Guji, also known as Gu Gong'an, asked worriedly. "No, Grandpa knows his health. It's thanks to your wife who cooked the food for me this time. The food is so delicious," Grandpa Gu replied with a look on his face. Guji was stunned. Didn't he just ask his wife to cook some vegetables for his grandfather? Is that dish a magical elixir? "Grandpa, this has nothing to do with fear of food. Maybe it's because you're in good health, so you feel hungry." Guji didn't believe it. This matter passed like this. The Gu family didn't understand until the food brought home was finished and Mr. Gu stopped eating. The head of the Gu family, Gu Gangii, immediately started experimenting again after learning about it. Guji had no choice but to write to He-Ans and ask him to send him some more food. He worked at the Public Security Bureau and couldn't leave for a while. By the time He-Ans received the letter, it was almost the Mid-Autumn Festival. He had no choice but to get out of the car as soon as he returned to the county town from home. "This time I went a bit far, and I took the goods with the boss. I had to wait for the boss to finish selling the goods, and then follow him to restock the goods before I could come back. The first is coming soon. Please don't stop voting, please beg me." End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 198. Chapter 198, I Miss You So Much. This journey lasted more than half a month. Xiao Lai gave him a letter as soon as he came back. After reading it, he was speechless. This Gu Gong'an actually wrote a letter asking me to send him food he couldn't understand. But since everyone has written letters, he has to send them to. So Hians asked about the time and learned that it was a letter half a month ago. He hurried to find Uncle Zhao, hoping that Uncle Zhao would have food. Fortunately, Uncle Zhao had some goods in stock here. He gave some to Hians. There weren't many vegetables in it, just some that had been put away. For example, eggplant, corn, pumpkin, etc. After taking some of each, Hians went to send it to Gugongan. He also explained in the letter why he only replied at this time. The Mid-Autumn Festival is coming soon, and Hians has two pieces of news here. One is to ask him to return to the village, and Hianlin is getting married. The other one is Fang Kai. That guy Fang Kai actually got on the bus first. Fortunately, no one was killed, but the wedding date was set, and it was the Mid-Autumn Festival. So, Hian started to get busy as soon as he came back. Xiangyang and the others are also familiar with Fang Kai. They know that Hians is busy, and they also say that they are keeping an eye on the truck. Hians then had time to visit Fang Kai's house. Today is the 10th day of August. He can't make it to Enlin's wedding, but he can't miss it with Fang Kai. The relationship is different. In the village, Hianlin also got married in a hurry. He didn't look like a serious winemaker at all. There were only 4 dishes for the guests, including only one meat dish. When Grandma he learned about it, she gave him a gift but no one left. He made an excuse, saying that Mei Shui was pregnant and didn't want to move around. Meixiu was also very cooperative and didn't go out much. If He Jiaojiao and Li Shuangshuang hadn't come to accompany her, she would have been bored to death. Xiao really wanted to go, but his wife kept him at home and was afraid that he would not be able to stay at home, so she asked him to go to the mountains to play with Xiaobai. There is another thing, and that is Lixia. She went back to the village, and after chatting with Mei Shui, she decided to go into the clothing business, but the cost issue stumped her. She is not in a hurry about the storefront in town, because her husband's family has one, a small storefront that is open to the street. Just to purchase goods and so on, after calculation, at least 800 yuan should be prepared. Of course, this means that the goods are all available. If the goods are small, it can be done with 300 yuan. As soon as she has an idea, she takes action. She goes back to discuss the cost matters with her man. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Lixia's shop was also renovated. She returned to the village again, taking An Liang with her, planning to go to the county town to find Hians. Poor, he couldn't be found, but Mei Shui felt the same and asked others to find Uncle Zhao if they didn't find him, and asked him to take them to recruit Xiao Lai. Finally, I saw Xiao Lai's wife's shop and learned from the sister-in-law. Lixia is a good person to talk to. I quickly ordered the goods and took them from Xiao Lai's daughter-in-law's shop. Although she doesn't make much money, it's better than going to Guangzhou to get goods by herself. The most important thing is that Lixia can't leave even if she wants to. Just like that, Lixia's store was opened. I heard that business was pretty good when it first opened. The first thing she did when she got the new goods was that Lixia left some clothes suitable for Mei Shui and had them brought back. Who wouldn't envy me? Meixiu has new clothes to wear every day and meat to eat every day. Grandma, should we go to the county town to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival this year or wait for Hians to come back at home? Unconsciously, Mei Shui missed that man. Grandma, he glanced at Xiaoxiu. You can't leave. The work in the vegetable field can't stop. You still have to plant a batch of vegetables. You also need to check the water of the rice in the field from time to time. Grandma can't leave. If you want to settle down, I'll let you go straight south. Uncle will take you to the county town. Grandma, he also saw Xiaoxiu's longing and knew what she was thinking. Meixiu was not happy when she heard this. No, Grandma isn't going. Why should I go? I'll be at home with Grandma. I was happy to hear this, but I always felt like I was dragging them down. Xiaoxiu, Grandma is used to being alone. If you want to live in peace, go to the county town. Grandma won't say anything. Grandma, he started talking to Mei Shui in a good-humored way. How could Mei Shui agree? I'm afraid you'll miss your grandson. In this way, the topic of Hians was disconnected. By the way, Grandma, does anyone still sell the tea oil? If so, let's buy more. I think it tastes pretty good. Mei Shui didn't want to talk about this anymore. You need to ask the first team and the second team about this. We don't have that many here, and the amount of camellia oil is not large. This is true. Now the camellia oil is sold for more than 70 per kilogram. Grandma, he frowned. It's okay. I have more than 20 kilograms at home. Wait a minute. In September, someone will go to the town to sell it. Then we will ask, and when to ask it is really inconvenient not to have a man at home. Mei Shui sometimes thinks that it would be great if Hians was at home, and he could be asked to do many things. Well, let him ask when the time comes. Grandma, he sighed and responded. She also knew that it was inconvenient to have a family without a man, but there was nothing she could do about it. The Boyans refused to return to the village. If it weren't for Xiaoxiu, I'm afraid he would have wanted to take them out of here together. Fang Kai's side is getting married on the Mid-Autumn Festival, and the girl's side is having a wedding reception in Shishalai. Hians came back when he was 13. When I came back, I brought a lot of Mid-Autumn Festival supplies. Seeing him back, whether it was Grandma He, Mei Shui or Xiaobai, they were very happy. Xiao was even more exaggerated. When he saw Hians come back, he immediately left Xiaobai and ran forward. Godfather, after calling him, he burst into tears. Those who don't know may think he has suffered a great deal of injustice at home. You brat, you're very heavy, do you know that? Hians put down the things in his hands and hugged Xiao, fearing that he would fall. Wu, Godfather, why did you go so long? My godmother and I miss you very much. The child's grievances go away as quickly as they come. Just after Hians took out a whole package of toffee from a small bag, he smiled. He also looked around and saw that his wife didn't come out, so he immediately ran into his room. What are you going to do? Hide the toffee, and the wife at home will fight with him to eat the toffee. After Xiao's episode, the relationship between Hians and Mei Shui became much more natural. Maybe both of them have lost some thoughts. You brat, where did you go? Grandma, he poured a glass of water from the kitchen and immediately shouted when she didn't see Xiao when she came out. Come and take the things into the house quickly. After saying that, Grandma, he put the water in An's hand, then turned around and carried the things into the main room. Then I heard the sound of the old lady and Xiao struggling in the house. Very harmonious and happy. Daughter-in-law, there was no one around, so Hians didn't care anymore and went straight forward to hug his wife. I miss you so much. The votes are moving. It's up to you to add more updates. Please vote for recommendations, please vote for me, please subscribe. Get moving. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 199. Chapter 199, Teaching Xiao how to practice Kung Fu. Recently, Hians has been practicing the same martial arts and external skills, and his body has become stronger and stronger. I don't know if it is an illusion, but he feels that he is a little taller. In the past, it was at most 1.7 meters, but now, it is at least 1.78 meters. Mei Shui was stunned when she saw him. Hians took a few steps forward and said, Daughter-in-law, I'm back. Every time he went out for more than half a month, he actually missed his wife, his children, and his grandma. Well, just come back. Mei Shui chuckled, go into the house first, don't just stand around. But without outsiders to disturb him, Hians just wanted to go forward and hug the woman in front of him who made him feel heartache. Mei Shui saw all his reactions. After accepting him, she no longer rejected him, but felt faintly happy. Xiaoxiu, wife, I really miss you so much, I don't want to leave you. He had this impulse every time he came back, but it didn't work, he wanted to give her a better life. Then come back, Mei Shui said very emotionally, when you come back, you can help me and grandma work. After saying that, she left. She knows the man's ambition and doesn't want to restrain him, but sometimes she wishes he was at home. Very contradictory. Ahians was stunned for a moment. Give me a few more years, just a few years, and I will definitely be by your side to accompany you every day. Yeah, Mei Shui knew that, but she didn't force it. Let go, are you hungry? Mei Shui pushed Hians, who was hugging her, and asked him to let go first. Hians hugged her very loosely, for fear of hurting her. His belly was so big now, so he didn't dare to use too much force. Okay, I'll listen to you. The two walked into the kitchen hand in hand. Grandma and Xiao were not in the kitchen. Mei Shui looked at the leftover food today and said, why don't you eat noodles? She didn't want to do anything like cooking. It's okay. I'll do it myself. You can sit down. There were a lot of leftovers on the table and it was troublesome to cook some noodles. He could just light up the fire and stir-fry some leftover rice. Oh, Mei Shui was not polite to him and sat down, holding her belly. We don't have anything left for lunch. Why don't you get the eggs and fry 2 more vegetables? It's okay, just have some cushions at noon, and eat better at night. The food outside is not as good as at home. Grandma might kill the chickens at night, Mei Shui said with a smile. In the main room, Xiao was comparing himself with the new clothes his godfather had bought for him. Madam, do you look good? My dad is the best to me. The little brat showed off his shame. The old lady didn't show any weakness. Huh, I have one too. Look how comfortable this dress is to the touch. Look how pretty this flower is. Well, the grandfather and grandson began to compare with each other. Of course, things belonging to Mei Shui and the children were automatically put aside by them. Madam, you must have bought this for me. Look, it's hard. After seeing that his clothes couldn't compare with his wife's, Xiao picked up a box of chocolates and came out. He has eaten this before, but only when he was with his grandfather. Not necessarily, it might be with your mouth. Give it a try. The old lady was unconvinced. Xiao seemed to have thought of something and looked embarrassed. Madam, this is not toffee, this is for me. He just didn't want to give it. Seeing him like this, the old lady couldn't figure out what was going on and said, you brat, if you dare to food from me, I'll get you beaten. Finally, under the pressure of his wife, Xiao obediently handed over the box of black candies. When the old lady put it in her mouth, it was like she had discovered a new road. Xiao, this is delicious and sweet. Come on, try it. The old lady doesn't want to eat alone. Xiao didn't really believe it, because the food he ate before was a bit bitter. Sweet was sweet, but it was also very bitter. But your wife doesn't look miserable at all. So, with his wife's hand, Xiao ate one. Don't tell me, it was so sweet. It's delicious, my wife will give me half of it. No, this is too sweet. If you eat too much, it will damage your teeth. This child can't eat it. Grandma, his face is full of good for you. Xiao is such a smart kid, he quits immediately. So, when Hians finished cooking the rice, the two people in the main room were still dividing the dishes. When the two of them arrived in the main room, they saw that Xiao's clothes were messy and his hair was messy. What's going on? Hians was a little confused. Mei Shui seems to be used to it. Grandma has often bullied Xiao recently, and it has become a habit. Xiao, please give way to my wife. She is old, so don't take action, Mei Shui said with a headache. When Grandma heard this, she was happy. See, your mother is helping me. Huh, if you want to rob me, just go ahead and dream. The old lady was called a tsundere. Hians was speechless. What is going on? He asked Mei Shui with his eyes. Mei Shui shook her head and whispered in his ear, I'll tell you tonight. Mei Shui still couldn't do it to the two of them in front of them. Xiao refused. Godmother, look at my wife, she is bullying others. My wife took away all the candies and even took away my clothes. Speaking of this, Xiao felt very aggrieved. Upon hearing this, Mei Shui looked at her grandma. Grandma, why do you eat so much sugar? Don't you want to eat? Mei Shui asked. Grandma, he kept making little moves. While getting up, she secretly threw some candies behind Xiao. You listen to his nonsense, he is a liar. Look, he hides all the candy behind his back. How could the old lady's actions be hidden from Mei Shui and Hian's? The two of them shook their heads helplessly. When Xiao heard this, he turned around immediately. When he saw the candies behind him, he smiled, haha, I have a lot of candies, more than my wife's. So, Xiao didn't know that when he was betrayed, his godfather and godmother were thinking about him. Xiao, I see that you have nothing to do every day. You run to the mountains every day. So, before school starts, I will give you a task, Hian's thought to himself. What mission? At this time, the three of them looked at him. Practice with me, Hian said seriously. Mei Shui chuckled. Grandma, he gave Xiao a look that made you want to be more convinced. It's time for Xiao to exercise his body. It seems that he is weak, and he is far worse than Xiaobai. Mei Shui rolled her eyes. Who can compare with Xiaobai? Even she didn't dare to say this. Okay, it's settled. Let's start practicing with me tomorrow morning. Hian's originally had this idea, so he left in a hurry. Mei Shui has no objection. Boys can better protect themselves by learning some skills. After dividing the spoils, the four of them walked out of the main room and sat under the eaves, chatting and kicking. Jiao Jiao is getting married tomorrow, are you coming back to have a drink? Grandma asked after sitting down. Don't forget to vote, ask for recommendation votes, and ask for monthly votes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 200. Chapter 200, Mid-Autumn Festival. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival to everyone. Hians shook his head. No, I'm back to celebrate the festival with you. He had gone to the Fang family to tell him that he might not be able to come to the Mid-Autumn Festival because Mei Shui was pregnant and he couldn't take her back and forth between the two places. Fang Kai and the others also understood that he would come back to spend time with his sister-in-law, grandma and the others. Fang Kai isn't going there either, Mei Shui said in a daze. Well, I won't go. I have been back from other places for several days. I have been to Fang's house and told him that I might not be able to go during the Mid-Autumn Festival, but he still deserved the gift. No matter how good a brother is, he cannot do without human connections. That's okay. It's the same thing if I have 2 more drinks with him tomorrow, Hian said happily. Because Li Fei is coming over tomorrow, and the 3 brothers have no time to get together. By the way, it's about Xiao's schooling. Ans, you're at home. Help him register. It seems like it won't be a few days. With Xiaoxiu like this, Grandma won't worry about leaving her seeing Xiao playing there, Grandma, he said, thinking of his school days. That's no problem. Originally, I thought I would take care of his schooling when I came back. Now that the household registration is in his own name, he is his own son, so how can he not care about it? Just remember it, Grandma, he smiled, and then slapped Xiao Yu the side. You brat, if you dare not come back first after school, I'll see if I pull your skin off. Xiao felt aggrieved. Madam, can you always touch me? Men and women can't touch each other. This child, like in Liang, we owe him so much. You brat, let's see if I don't beat you to death, Grandma. He became angry when she heard this. I am your wife, I can't do anything, right? Hians finally knew that his cheap son was really beaten up. Even when he was a child, he didn't dare to talk to his grandma like this. Xiaoxiu, is Xiao beaten every day at home? Hian swallowed and asked. Mei Shui nodded, well, I owe a lot, it's no worse than on Liang. That's good. I think he has come out of those painful days. Hians was very pleased. He came out a long time ago, and now his skin is like a monkey's. By the way, the wild grapes on the mountain will be ripe soon. If you have time, go and pick more ripe grapes for me. These are those grown at home. It feels different. When used to make wine, the sourness will be missing. Mei Shui thinks grapes from the mountains are better. Okay, are you planning to make wine this year? Is this convenient? Hians was very worried. If you have nothing to do, just talk. This year we will make more plum wine. You can sell it or drink it at home. You can take it and give it as a gift. Mei Shui is now Hian's wife. She will do her job well. Daughter-in-law, it's great to have you. Hians was very moved. Don't say that. If you are sorry for me in this life, I will make you lose everything, including your loved ones, Mei Shui said with a fierce look in her eyes. Hian saw it all. I swear, if I feel sorry for Mei Shui in the slightest, I will suffer a miserable death for the rest of my life. Hearing this, Mei Shui smiled and said, remember, her heart softened, but that didn't mean she couldn't be cruel. You cannot lose yourself if you lose anyone. Grandma He and Xiao looked at the two of them in confusion. Madam, I think it's better for us to go out and play. It's too disgusting here. The little brat is really indebted. Sure, let's go. You go and play with An Liang and the others. Madam, I'll go and chat with your wife, Mrs. Jinghua. This home is too. After the two of them walked away, Mei Shui and Hian started laughing. Do you have any objections to my teaching Xiao to practice? Hians remembered what he had said before. Meixia shook her head. I should have taught him a long time ago, but I can't get up in the morning. She couldn't sleep well at night, so she could sleep longer in the morning. It's okay, let me take care of this. After church, just keep an eye on him every day. If you have the ability to protect yourself, you won't be bullied by others. You're a really good dad, Mei Shui teased him. You're not bad at all. Look at what he's wearing and what he's eating. As a mother, you're not bad at all. Meixia was speechless. That's grandma. She relied on her grandma to help her live. It's also your fault. After opening their hearts, the two of them became even more sour. While Mei Shui was sleeping in the afternoon, Hians grabbed Xiao and took Xiaobai up the mountain. Where to go? Of course I am picking mountain grapes for my wife. If she wants to make wine, let her make it, as long as she is happy. Hook up Xiaobai, but Hians felt that it should be more familiar with the mountains. With the fact that Xiaobai found the gold bars and skills, no matter how stupid Hians was, he would never treat Xiaobai as an ordinary dog. Since Xiao came to this village, he has never really gone into the mountains. On weekdays, Uncle Anwen takes him to activities in his vegetable field. Seeing Uncle Anwen catching snakes and animals, he had been envious for a long time. Now that he can finally go up the mountain with his godfather, he is so happy. Dad, can you teach me how to catch snakes and game? Xiao asked expectantly as he walked. How could Hians not know what he was thinking? Okay, you can start practicing hard tomorrow. In less than a year, you will be able to enter the mountains by yourself, Hians lured him. Really? Xiao was startled. I learn, I will study hard if this is the case, in the future. These mountains are all his. Looking at his excited look, Hians nodded, of course, can I still lie to you? If you don't believe me, go back and ask your mother. I don't know when. Xiao, who used to call himself godfather and Xiaoxia godmother, now starts calling them parents. Hians was very pleased with his change. His sincere efforts were truly rewarded. This year's Mid-Autumn Festival, the He family's yard was very lively. But the excitement is excitement, no, there are also troubles. I'm telling you, just go steal things yourself, but don't lead Xiao astray, Grandma, he yelled. It turns out that there is a custom in the village that you can steal things on August 15th, such as stealing vegetables, fruits, chickens, and ducks, etc., but you cannot enter other people's houses. It's not okay to break in and steal something. En Liang and En Cheng ran over after breakfast. Yesterday, He Jiao's family held a door wine, and the groom came to pick them up early this morning. So everyone in the village got up very early. Third Grandma, let's just steal some pumpkins and not steal other people's valuables, En Liang was yelled at, which was a grievance. Now it's Xiao, his eyes are bright and he can steal things. It's so fun. I have never played like this in the compound before. That won't work. How old is Xiao? What does he know? If you lead him astray, I'll see if I get rid of you, Grandma, he screamed angrily. I didn't expect that these people would start plotting against their great-grandson. How could this happen? It's up to you to make extra updates. Please vote for recommendations, please vote for me monthly. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 201. Chapter 201, Causing Trouble. Third Grandma, let's go have some fun. Many people in the village have made an appointment, and Cheng said weakly. Mei Shui wanted to go, but unfortunately she was pregnant. Grandma, why don't you let Xiao go play? Mei Shui persuaded. Xiao also walked up to the old lady and said, Madam, I will definitely not steal other people's things. I will just play with my uncle and the others, okay? Hians was speechless. He had played with it when he was a child, but the only things he could steal back then were vegetables from the vegetable field, unlike now. Forget it, go ahead, remember, don't enter other people's houses, don't touch the poultry. It was pitiful, so let them go. En Liang, you are the older one among them, so you have to take good care of them. If you are discovered by others, you must apologize, and Zi warned worriedly. His mother's breast hurt, just spoil him, he sighed and entered the house. At this time, everyone in the courtyard cheered. Don't say anything, it's really heartwarming to see the simple smiles on their faces. How to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival? Of course it's a family reunion. Some married women with good conditions in their families also rushed back to their natal families. He Hongmei and He Yunhong did not come back. But Lixia came back, not only with her children and men, but this time her mother-in-law and father-in-law also came. It is said that we all spend it together. At noon, they arrived home. Aunt Milian was so happy that she immediately killed 2 chickens and went to En Cheng's house to buy 2 ducks. As soon as there were too many dishes, she didn't care and directly called the En Wen family, Mei Shui family, and En Cheng family together. 4 families spent time together. So each family brought some vegetables, food, and other things, and they all gathered at Aunt Milian's house. Because of this incident, Aunt Milian also received harsh words from others. Aunt Mei Lian's home is directly below Aunt 11 Lian's and He Jingting's homes, and these 2 families know everything that goes on at home. What is different about the fun here is He Jingting's family. During the Mid-Autumn Festival, because of En Lin's wedding, the family's money has been almost spent. Of course, He Jingting spent more or less what he said himself. No one knows how much money his family really has. This rich man is a rich man. He invites half the village to have a meal. Doesn't he think he is a landlord? You beast, you just eat whatever you have, and you still dare to dislike it, you are really a white-eyed wolf. These words came from the mouth of En Lin's little daughter-in-law, as if she was afraid that others wouldn't hear her. Each sentence was louder than the last. Everyone didn't react at first, but after listening for a long time, everyone's face looked very ugly. Especially En Liang, he knew who he was scolding in the last sentence, it was Anshan. Young ladies, you really think we are deaf? After saying that, he wanted to rush out, but was held back by an when and he ends. Say less, their expressions were also very bad. But I know that now is not the time to quarrel, as it will end badly. This festival won't be able to pass for a while. Lixia had a bad temper. When no one was paying attention, she ran directly to the back door. Speaking of which, who are you scolding? It's such a nasty scolding. Come on, tell me. Lixia is a smart person, and after doing business for a few days, she has become mellow. It happened that Lin's wife had not left yet and was feeding the chickens and ducks at the door. Hey, who do I think you are? The landowner's lady is here. She's a rare visitor. He spoke in a strange way. Oh, if you have the ability, you can become a young lady. I won't stop you. Besides, are you worthy? Don't tell me. Lixia's mouth is really powerful. I can't be that landowner's lady who human blood. After saying this, his face was very proud. Looking at her like this, I'm afraid her family does a lot of bad things. In other words, you are poor and you are justified. Now the country has said that it will reform the economy and develop in an all-round way. What are you doing? If you are dragging the country back, people like you shouldn't live in this world. I'm not afraid to tell you that even though my family is rich, my family still earns this money from the country. What's wrong? Are you envious? Are you jealous? What kind of person is Lixia? She has been unafraid of getting into trouble since she was a child. Look, my clothes are of high quality. A set costs more than 100 yuan. I can't help it. A man bought them for me. Look at these little leather shoes again. Haha, my mother-in-law gave them to me. Of course, these things were all nonsense from her. She has all the money in the family, and she can buy whatever she wants. Hearing the sound from behind the house, everyone came over. When everyone heard Lixia's showy tone, everyone couldn't help laughing. Even her man endured it very hard. Daughter-in-law, why are you standing here? It's windy and smells bad. Don't hurt yourself. This person really complied with the old saying, if you are not a member of the same family, you will not enter the same house. Lixia's mother-in-law also came forward and said, Lixia, what are you doing? What about the upbringing that mom told you? Don't be embarrassed. These words sound like scolding Lixia, and everyone who understands will know that they are mocking the people above. And Lin's wife saw so many people coming out and felt a little scared, but humph, those of you who eat the blood of the common people should be arrested. A little money is great, I want to go to you. After saying that, he stared down with his eyes, as if he wanted to see the fear in their eyes. Such a pity. Are you living in ancient times? What era are you in, and you can actually say such things? And Liang was speechless. The woman on top couldn't stand it anymore, and Liang and others joined in. I'm going to die. They're all bullying me, a woman. Where are all the people in my family? Are they all dead? Why don't you come out and help me? After saying this, he burst into tears. At this time, no one else in He Zhengting's family was at home except Aunt Zhengting and Anshan. Anshan glanced at his sister-in-law, and then lowered his head, as if he hadn't heard. Aunt Zhengting, who was behind the house, heard the shouting and ran out. What are you doing? It's a shame. Day by day, I don't do two important things. I only know how to make noises. Aunt Zhengting was very annoyed with this daughter-in-law. Mom, come here quickly, they are bullying me, and Lin's wife shouted with a grieved look on her face. Aunt Zhengting took a few steps forward and slapped her daughter-in-law on the face. I'll beat you to death first, you're so embarrassing. It wasn't that she had trouble with her daughter-in-law, but that she understood what her daughter-in-law was. Third aunt, Mei Lian, I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll take this troublesome thing back first. Don't be angry with her, just think of her as a fart. Who is my third aunt? It's just that she hasn't lost her temper yet. If I wait for her to take action. Aunt Zhengting's kindness is a bit unclear. You think, You actually hit me, and Lin's wife rushed towards Aunt Zhengting as soon as she regained consciousness. She was pushed to the ground without any defense. Don't stop voting. Recommended votes and monthly votes are important tools for adding updates. If you don't reach it today, there will be no more updates tomorrow. Voting is really important. You must remember to vote. End of this chapter.